All right, so in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to read the bass clef on piano. I get questions all the time about people saying, oh, I can read treble clef, but I can't read bass clef. Well, it's literally the exact same thing. So the only difference with bass clef is which notes are on the lines and spaces, right? The bass clef represents different notes than the treble clef. So one of the easiest ways to remember it, and we're going to go through this whole piece here and I'll explain everything about reading music, but one of the easiest ways to remember it is to use this little acronym of A, C, E, G. And the little saying that we'd use is all, and I can't really fit in here, but cows eat grass. If you can remember that all cows eat grass, this tells you that the notes on the spaces of the bass clef are A, C, E, G. Now specifically, those A, C, E, Gs, just for reference, here's middle C. We're not talking about this A, we're actually going to be one A lower. So this is the A that is on the first space. That's the C that's on the second space. There's the E that's on the third space. And there's the G on the fourth space. And then to know the notes that are on the lines, you would just count up one. So like if A is on the first space and C is on the second space, then B is on the second line. And if A is on the first space, G is below that on the first line. If C is on the second space as E is on the third space, then D is on that line. And if E is on that space and G is on that one, then F is there. So the lines are just one away. I prefer to remember that versus the lines. And then you just count up and down one. And other than knowing the notes, reading music is the exact same, whether it's treble clef or bass clef. We have symbols like these, and I'll explain these in a moment, of how long to hold the notes down. So let's just go over those. And now you'll notice like some of the times when we're looking at the notes, sometimes the stem is pointed up, sometimes the stem is pointed down. That doesn't change what type of note it is. We literally just flip the note upside down if it's above the middle line on the staff. So if a note is on the middle line or higher, the stem will be on the left side of the note pointed down. If it's below the middle line, the stem will be on the right side pointed up. So what do these symbols mean? Well, the ones that are colored in, and I'll draw them here, and I'll draw both examples. So the stem, like I said, could be pointed up on the right side or colored in with the stem pointed down. Those get a value of 1 beat. It is telling you to hold down a note for 1 beat. 1, and then you let go. If the note is not colored in, like these ones here, but they still have a stem coming up or a stem coming down, they get a value of 2 beats. You hold them down for 2. 1, 2, and then you let go. If it is just simply an oval, there's no stem coming up or down, it's not colored in like that, those are called whole notes, and they hold for a value of 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these ones here, colored in, they're called quarter notes. They get a value of 1 beat. These ones here are called half notes. They get a value of 2 beats. And these ones here are called whole notes and get a value of 4. So now all we have to do, if we look at the beginning of the piece, you have your time signature. Don't worry about the number on the bottom. Just ignore that one for now. I have other videos explaining that, but I don't want to get into that today. The number on the top just tells you how many beats are in each measure. So we see we have a note here that will hold for 2 beats. So that will take up the first 2 beats of the measure because each measure has to take up 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what this number on top is telling you. So that means this one is taking up the first 2 beats of the measure. 1, 2. So that's taking up 1 and 2. Then we get to this one. This one's taking up 1 beat. It will take up beat number 3. And this one's taking 1 beat. It'll take up beat number 4. Then we have our measure line telling us we're at the start of a new measure. So we start our 1, 2, 3, 4 count over again. So here we have a half note. We'll hold for 2. So it'll take beats 1 and 2. You'll notice I put the 2 in the middle because it's going to keep holding there. So 1, 2. And then this one is also a half note. So it'll take beats 3 and 4. And I will play this example after. So right now we're just doing the beat numbers first, which is the most important part when you're reading music. A lot of people skip over this and they just focus on what letter to play. We'll get into that in a moment. Here we have a half note. So once again, our 1, 2, 3, 4 count has started over because it's a new measure. So once again, we have a half note here that will take up beats number 1 and 2. Our quarter note here will take up one of the beats. So it'll get beat number 3. And our quarter note here will take up beat number 4. Then we have a new measure of 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's a whole note, so it'll actually take up all 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it gets all of those because it's a whole note. And then you'll see a thick black line here, which represents the end of the song. So now we have all our counts. We know this note will play on beat 1, hold for 2, that'll play on 3, 4, and so on. Now let's fill in the letters. This note here is on the second space. Well, all cows eat grass. That's on cows, so that's a C. This one here is on the third space. All cows eat, so that's an E. This one's on the third line, so all cows, and then it's just one higher than C, so one higher than C in the alphabet is D. Second space again, so all cows, that's a C. All cows, well, this is A, so that's all. This one's on the second line, so all cows in between A and C, or just one higher than A, is B. This one's on that third line again, which we've already done, which is a D. All cows eat, so that's an E. And then finally, all cows, that's a C. So there is this piece of music in bass clef. And now usually with bass clef, we will play this with our left hand because our left hand is generally down here. So all I'll do here is put my hand like this so that I can reach my lowest note of A and I can reach my highest note of E, and I will play the piece. It'll go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is it. And that is how you read bass clef. Like I said, if you can read treble clef, you can read bass clef. The only difference is you just have to memorize the all cows eat grass, the different lines and spaces. That's the only thing that changes with bass clef. Everything else about reading music, the rhythms and writing in the counts, that's all exactly the same. Nothing there has changed. The only thing that changes is the lines and spaces represent different notes. And a lot of people always ask, why didn't they just make the treble clef and the bass clef the exact same notes? Well, we have to remember that different instruments used to read the different clefs. So like if you're just a violin player, you'll never read the bass clef. You only read the treble clef. If you're a cello player or a bass player, you never read the treble clef. You only read the bass clef. So they made them different to represent the different places within music, right? The lower notes and the higher notes. If they made them the same, it would be confusing as to which one is which. So it is the system they created. A lot of people try and fight it and say, why is it like this? Why is it like that? Why did it's like, if you want to create your own musical system, go ahead. But this system was created over thousands of years of trying to figure out how to write down music so people can figure out which note to play and when to play it. I think this system works great. It's just a language. So any language looks confusing if you don't know how to do it. But if you practice it and you take your time to start from the beginning and learn it properly, it'll make sense. So don't try and fight the system. I think it's a language. Like I said, if you don't know the language of Chinese and you looked at Chinese symbols, you'd be like, this looks so stupid. I don't get it. Well, of course, you don't know how the language works. But once you know how the language works, it makes sense. So hope this helps you with reading bass clef. And yeah, if you have any more questions about reading music or just anything, check out the courses I have in the link in my bio. I do all easy step-by-step lessons for beginners, and keep following all my social media channels at Digital Piano School to keep up with all of my lessons.